This is the moment of your actual birth, or it is the beginning of your final decay. If you turn away in the next 5 seconds, you are effectively signing a death warrant for the legendary life you were meant to lead. By staying, you are making a dangerous commitment to stop lying to the person in the mirror. Most people will live their entire lives and never become who they were truly meant to be. This failure is not because the world conspired against them, or because they lacked a specific talent. It is not because the odds were impossible, or because fate was exceptionally cruel. It is simply because, on one completely ordinary, unremarkable, and forgettable morning, they chose comfort over courage. They chose that comfort again the next day, and the day after that, until it became their primary identity. Eventually, the act of waiting became their entire life. The person they once dreamed of becoming slowly faded away, like a photograph left too long under the scorching sun. This is not a eulogy for those who have surrendered. This is a war cry for you, right here and right now. The question this moment is asking you is terrifyingly simple. Are you going to keep waiting? Or are you finally going to become the person you were born to be? Let me speak to a secret you have never shared with anyone. It is a thought you haven't told your closest friend, or the person who sleeps beside you at night. You haven't even dared to say it out loud to yourself in the light of day. There is a version of you that you dream about only when no one is watching. This version walks into a room with a different kind of gravity. This version does not shrink when a voice is raised or when worth is questioned. This is the version that builds the empire, starts the business, makes the difficult call, and writes the book. You have felt this version of yourself before, in brief. Electric flashes. You felt it at 2 o'clock in the morning, when your heart was pounding and your mind felt truly alive for the first time in years. In that split second, you saw the truth before. Fear wrapped its cold hands around your throat. Fear always whispers the same poisonous question, asking you who you think you are. Fear is the oldest enemy, the most convincing liar, and the jailer who never needs a physical key. You are the one who locks the door from the inside every single day. Fear does not always show up as a monster with a terrifying face. It often dresses itself in the clothes of reason, practicality, and caution. It masquerades as wisdom and says things that sound very responsible to the untrained ear. It tells you that now is not the right time, or that you should wait until you have more experience. It asks what will happen if you fail, and what the neighbors will think of your efforts. You nod in agreement because these excuses sound so reasonable. Fear is the most persuasive voice in the room because it sounds exactly like your own voice. This is why fear is so incredibly difficult to fight. Fear has cost humanity more than every war ever fought in our long history. It has erased more art than every bonfire ever lit by a tyrant. It has silenced more voices and buried more dreams than any disease or natural disaster could ever hope to. Most days, on completely ordinary days, you simply let it win. You do not lose because you are weak, but because no one ever taught you the mechanics of the fight. Then there is the reality of failure. Not as a concept, but as a ghost that haunts you. You tried something once, perhaps years ago, and you poured your entire heart into it. You built it from nothing and believed in it with a purity you haven't felt since. When you put it out into the world did not applaud or even offer a kind word. The world either stayed silent or, even worse, it laughed at your ambition. Something inside you decided quietly and privately that you were not meant for greatness. That small, venomous thought has been living inside you, like a parasite, ever since that day. It attaches itself to every new idea before that idea is even fully formed in your mind. It whispers, "Remember last time," before you can even take a single step forward. You have made yourself smaller and smaller until the cage of your life fits you perfectly. You built this cage to match the size of your own shrinking spirit. Then we must discuss self-doubt, because it is often confused with humility. Humility is the recognition that you have more to learn and can always be better. Self-doubt is the lie that you will never be enough for the task at hand. Self-doubt says that other people are capable, but you are fundamentally excluded from success. These are not the same thing, and they are not even in the same category of thought. Self-doubt is the voice that keeps your mouth shut in the meeting room when you have the best idea. It is the force that makes you delete the application before you ever hit the send button. It is why you keep your masterpiece hidden in a drawer while you watch others rise past you. You tell yourself they got lucky, but the truth is much harder to swallow. Those people had doubts just as heavy as yours. Every single one of them. The only difference is that they decided to show up and perform, in spite of the doubt. It wasn't about talent, timing, or a lucky break from the universe. It was the simple, brutal decision to show up while their hands were still shaking. Now, consider the most suffocating feeling of all. The feeling of being completely stuck. You aren't broken or destroyed in a way that others can see and offer help for. You are just living a life that feels like a repeating loop of the same gray day. You wake up in the same bed, drive the same route, and sit at the same desk. You have the same hollow conversations with the same people about things that do not matter. There is a quiet, persistent ache in your chest that tells you something vital is missing. You are living at a tiny fraction of the capacity you were built for. There is a version of your life waiting just beyond your reach, and it drifts further away. Every day you refuse to move. You are not stuck because you are lazy or limited by your circumstances. You are stuck because you have been building a prison around yourself. One surrendered morning at a time. Consider this message to be the door out of that prison. I want you to name the one thing that has been keeping you paralyzed in this spot. Is it fear? Is it doubt? Or is it the heavy weight of your past? Once you name the enemy, everything you have heard so far starts to look different. The problem is never the actual circumstances of your life, but the lens through which you view them. Once you change that lens, the same life becomes a landscape of opportunity. The first truth you must accept is that every thought you have is not a passive observation. Every thought is a direct instruction to your subconscious mind. When you tell yourself you cannot do something, your brain begins scanning for evidence to confirm that failure. It will find mountains of evidence, lining up every past embarrassment as absolute proof. Your mind is the most powerful search engine ever built, and it returns results based on the query you provide. If you tell it you are a failure, it will build a case against you that would convince any jury on earth. However, if you tell it you are capable, it begins constructing a path through the darkness that was invisible a moment ago. This is not about wishful thinking or positive psychology that fails when things get difficult. This is the fundamental way the human brain operates at a neurological level. The mind was never actually designed to keep you comfortable or happy. It was designed to move you toward whatever you most consistently believe about yourself. The thoughts you repeat every day eventually harden into the beliefs you hold as truth. Those beliefs dictate the actions you take, and those actions eventually become the life you live. It all begins with what you choose to say to yourself when no one else is listening. That internal voice is not neutral noise. It is a command that your life is executing right now. The second truth is that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the actual road that every person of consequence has had to walk. Every pioneer and creator you admire did not succeed in spite of their failures. They succeeded because of what they chose to do with the wreckage of those failures. When things fell apart, they did not ask why this was happening to them. They asked what they could take from the situation to make the next attempt better. One question makes you a victim, while the other makes you a dedicated student. Students eventually become masters through the literal mechanism of trial and error. Failure is just data. not a final verdict or a life sentence on your potential. It is information dressed in the most uncomfortable clothing imaginable to test your resolve. It shows you exactly what needs to change and strips away the false assumptions that were slowing you down. The road to anything extraordinary is paved with spectacular, gut-wrenching failure. If you are not failing, it is a sign that you are not reaching far enough. If everything you try succeeds easily, you are playing a game that is far too small for your soul. The next time you fail, do not pause to grieve or collapse into self-pity. Pause only to ask what this moment is trying to teach you, and then use that knowledge immediately. The third truth is that your dream did not find you by accident. The dream chose you because you were the right soil for that specific seed. Out of all the billions of people on this planet, this specific desire landed in you. It didn't go to your neighbor or someone with more money. It chose your heart. Nature does not give seeds to soil that is incapable of growing them to maturity. The hunger that will not go away is not a coincidence or a cruel joke. It is a calling from the deepest part of your being, pointing toward your true north. The real tragedy is not that people dream too big and fail. It is that most people spend their lives negotiating with a dream that was designed specifically for them. They bargain it down to something safer and more socially acceptable to avoid judgment. They call this process growing up or being responsible, but it is actually a slow surrender. The quiet grief of a surrendered dream is the heaviest thing a human being can carry. You can see this weight in the eyes of people who stopped trying years ago. Do not let that be your story, especially not while you still have the power to choose differently. The fourth truth is that most critics are not actually reacting to your work. They are reacting to the uncomfortable mirror that your courage holds up to their own lives. When you decide to rise, your growth reminds them of their own stillness and fear. Your brave attempt reminds them of everything they quietly decided never to try. They attack the mirror because looking at the reflection of their own surrender is unbearable. The criticism was never about your plan or whether your idea was actually good. It was about the discomfort of watching someone refuse to shrink when everyone else has learned to stay small. When someone tries to dim your light, it is because your light is exposing their darkness. That is their internal struggle to deal with. And it has nothing to do with your journey. Feel compassion for them, for they are fighting a war. They are currently losing. Then, keep moving forward without slowing down to explain yourself or seek their blessing. You do not need their approval to become who you were meant to be. Success is not a destination you reach. It is a person you eventually become. The business, the body, and the creative work are just the byproducts of your internal transformation. Almost everyone gets this wrong by chasing the goal while remaining the same person. They want the harvest without ever becoming the farmer who knows how to tend the land. You cannot think or plan your way into a new life while remaining fundamentally unchanged. The outside world will always reflect the state of your inner world without exception. Becoming a new person requires the total destruction of the old version of yourself. A seed does not become a massive tree by staying comfortable in its shell. It has to crack open in the cold, dark ground, which must feel like the end of the world. The old form must shatter completely before the new form can rise toward the light. The pressure and dissatisfaction you feel right now is not a punishment from the universe. It is the precise amount of pressure required to force you out of your current limitations. That discomfort is the actual mechanism of your development into something greater. Think of the butterfly struggling to emerge from its tight cocoon. The struggle itself is what forces the life-giving fluid into its wings so it can eventually fly. Without that specific resistance, the wings would remain shriveled and useless. The struggle is not getting in the way of your growth. The struggle is the growth itself. Every hard morning where you got up anyway is a moment of building your wings. Every rejection and every night spent in doubt was not suffering for nothing. It was the process of forging a spirit that can handle the weight of greatness. There are moments in life that feel like everything is burning to the ground. A deep betrayal or a total failure can make you feel like the story is over. But foresters know that fire does not simply destroy a forest, it renews it. The intense heat of a fire breaks open seed pods that have been sealed shut for decades. The fire releases what the forest was always meant to become. By clearing away the dead brush, your hardest chapter is the fire cracking open the seeds of strength you didn't know you had. Clarity only comes after the burning of everything that no longer serves your purpose. You must become someone who is no longer governed by the opinions of the fearful. The opinion of someone who has never dared to try should carry no weight in your mind. You must become someone for whom failure is a dedicated teacher, not a tombstone. You must become someone who keeps the promises made to yourself in the middle of the night. These private commitments are what actually build the character required for a legendary life. You must become someone who does the heavy work when no one is watching. Your true identity is formed in those private moments, when it would be acceptable to stop. You must consciously choose the path of growth over the path of easy stagnation. You have been waiting for a moment that is never going to arrive on its own. You have been waiting to feel ready and for your fear to magically dissolve. You are waiting for permission from people who are too afraid to even give it to themselves. Readiness is the most widely believed lie in the history of human potential. No one who ever did anything great started from a position of being ready. They started from a position of intense fear and insufficient information. They became ready by the act of starting the journey itself. The beginning is your only qualification, and the preparation happens within the attempt. Action is what creates confidence, not the other way around as most people believe. Confidence is the consequence of taking steps despite the terror in your heart. Every time you move forward, your brain registers that you survived the risk. Over time, what used to terrify you becomes a routine task that you do without thinking. Stop waiting for the perfect window, because the economy in the world will always be uncertain. There is no clean entry point into the life you want. There is only the mess of right now. Every second spent waiting for perfection is a second of your irreplaceable life handed back to the wind. The clock does not pause for you to gather your courage or for conditions to improve. One day you will look back and realize the perfect moment was every moment you chose not to wait. Stop asking for permission from gatekeepers who do not exist. You are the only authority on your own existence, and the only one who knows your true capacity. You have lived every chapter of your story, and know exactly what it has cost you to get here. Grant yourself the permission you have been seeking from the world. Say out loud that you give yourself permission to build the life you are capable of. Say it until you believe it, because that power has lived inside you the entire time. You must commit fully, because half-hearted efforts are more dangerous than doing nothing at all. A partial commitment gives you all the pain of sacrifice without any of the actual rewards. It tells your subconscious that you expect to quit when things get difficult. When you decide to begin, make that decision permanent and irreversible. Do not say you will try. Say that you are the kind of person who does this until it is finished. Belief is not a feeling you wake up with. It is a practice you engage in every day. It is the decision to act as if you are capable before the world provides any proof. You start with the doubt still screaming in your ear and the outcome still uncertain. Every step you take is a vote for the version of you that can succeed. Eventually, those votes accumulate until the doubt is nothing more than a faint whisper. You have already survived every single thing that was supposed to break your spirit. Every storm and every loss failed to finish you because something in you refuses to give up. You were forged by fire and sharpened by the very struggles you tried to avoid. You are not a victim of your past, but a product of the strength it required to survive it. You were not born to sit in the audience and watch others live out their dreams. You were born to build, to speak your truth, and to rise every time you hit the ground. You are not too old, too broken, or too far behind to start today. You are exactly where you need to be to make the most important decision of your life. There are people who need the unique gift that only you can provide to the world. There are futures that will only happen if you find the courage to show up today. There is a version of your life that is real and achievable, but it will not come to you. You have to go to it with everything you have. The future is patient, but it will not wait for you forever. One day, this, once in an eternity, chance to be alive, will come to an end. In that final silence, the only question will be whether you became who you were capable of being. You still have time to say yes to that question, but you only have right now. Later is a door that keeps moving further away until it vanishes entirely. The clock is running, and the only move that matters is the one you make this very second. Do not wait for the weekend or for things to calm down in your life. Go build the life that has been waiting for you to arrive. You were not born to live a small, quiet life of regret. You were born to become an unstoppable force of nature. Stop waiting and go do the thing you were meant to do.